Hey, welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Plan. It's week 5. We are talking player props for this week. Who's going to do well, who's not going to do well, just some of our favorite bets. How did we do in week 4?
We were about 50-50, and if you had that ghost leg promo, it probably worked out better for you, and you probably did a little bit better than that. We were actually came up one punt short on our parlay, which I think that's going to be the last time we ever say that. I think I'm staying away, just taking an under and making it easy. And the stupid Titans being cowards and running out the clock in the fourth quarter made us not
Yeah.
hit that. So I was kind of
I
bummed
was
about that.
Me too. I thought we were going to hit it at halftime because they had already had 5.
Yeah, it was kind of fun keeping the punt tracker alive. We were texting back and forth of how many punts we needed, but I'm just going to take the under from now on. That under crushed in that game. And so we live and learn. But we're still positive and we're still up about 11 units on the year so far. We're having a good run to start this year, but last week was kind of 50-50.
Well, let's get into this week. We're just dodging injuries, it feels like this week. We knew the big ones going into the week with like Malik Neighbors, but then there have been so many popping up. Trey Benson. I
Yeah,
think you said Chuba Hubbard was popping up today. So, everyone just keeps
we're
getting
like losing
injured.
a starting running back every day now. So,
And they're not even playing.
mhm.
Start us off with your first prop bet. What do you like?
Okay, this one I have a couple of options, but it's the same theme. It is targeting the Saints ground game against the Giants. And the Giants are dead last in the league in EPA per rush. The Saints are actually top 10 in their success rate on rushes. They just normally are behind in games. They're not rushing that much. It's probably the only time we're actually going to get the Saints ground game in a positive game script. They're actually favored at home, which is kind of remarkable. I mean, Spencer Rattler has never won a game in the NFL, and now he's a favorite against the Giants. But Vegas likes it. I like betting on Alvin Kamara in the spot. I like over 57.5 yards. But the other option you have is Kendre Miller over 28.5 yards. We saw him get more involved. Do you have a lean on those two running backs there?
I really like the 28 yards, 28 and a half yards for Kendre Miller, just seeing how much work that he's been getting. And because this is the rushing attack, I think I would lean towards Miller.
Yeah, I can definitely
I
see
think
that
you're
because Kamara is
on the
involved in the
Kamara side,
passing.
but
I like
yeah.
Kamara here, 57.5. I think he's still got it. They've been kind of splitting the carries more to, he's part of their future. They're not going to win the championship this year, and they need to save him for future years, but they also want to see what they have in Kendre Miller.
Yeah, I like just because of the rushing, I like Kendre Miller. If we could, find the line where we were doing a combined rushing and passing yards, then
Yeah.
I might be persuaded to Kamara.
That is another way you can play it. I've seen some markets where they have these two running backs combined, so you could play their combined yards. If you don't want to take your shot on either, just say Saints running backs.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, what else do we have? I think we'll
So,
win that one.
yeah. We're kind of leaning on our strengths here. We've done really good predicting the ground attacks. And this is one of my favorite players. I'm going back to the well with Omarion Hampton over 14.5 for his longest rush. He hit this multiple times. He looked really good against the Giants, and it was the Giants defense, but he looked good. And I think that Chargers team is kind of learning how to play for Hampton and how to set up his blocks better too, and what complements his strengths. In college, he had this really good profile of mainly a gap, like succeeding on gap concepts instead of zone concepts, and that's what he was excelled at, and that's where his huge chunk plays. And they ran a lot of zone concepts in the first couple weeks, but they've started shifting away from that. I was actually pulling stats to see if that's translated in the NFL. And Hampton on zone concepts, which is the most common concept in the NFL, he's 40th in efficiency, minimum 10 attempts. But on those gap concepts, he's actually number one in the NFL and the most efficient running back. With the offense shifting, I think they're going to have to lean on that ground game to protect Herbert in this game. I like Hampton to break off a 15-yard rush. We saw him do it a couple times last week.
We did. And yeah, the Commanders' defense hasn't been too stingy on what they're giving up either. They've got their own problems to deal with. And so Omarion Hampton is one of my favorite players. And now with the injury to Najee Harris, he's got it. And they are, like you said, they're learning how to work for him. And since this isn't a split anymore, he gets more tries at it. So if all he needs is one rush to be 15 yards long, I like this.
Yeah, he's going to have his chances. I mean, I think his snap percentage was up to 90% last week.
That's crazy. I have a passing prop for us. I like McMillan for the Panthers to be over 4.5 receptions. That seemed really low for me, but I bet him last week too, and that didn't hit. This one just feels very safe for me. I don't know. The Panthers going against the Dolphins. He's averaged 8.8 targets over the 4 weeks. And there have only been 2 weeks where he didn't hit this. One of those was against Atlanta at home when they didn't need him to. When they shut out Atlanta 30-0, then he didn't hit it. But this week they're back at home against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to put up a little bit more of a fight than we saw Atlanta do here in Carolina on that week. What do you think on this one? Is T-Mac getting love from you this week?
I love it because, I mean, he's kind of been the definition of consistency too. He's had over 8 targets in every single game so far this year. So getting a 4.5 reception line for kind of a sure-handed wide receiver, they're also going to need him. Like we mentioned, Hubbard might not play, and if he does play, he's probably going to be limited. And they don't have a lot of other wide receiving options still out there.
Yeah, they don't. It is a minus 136. You could go up to the 5.5 if you want to push it and get a little bit better odds. At that point, you may even start, getting near positive.
Yep. Or you can take the safe leg if you want to add it into a parlay. It's an option there too.
Exactly. I need to look for this one in, one of those 2-leg parlays that maybe we can do this weekend.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. The next one I want to bring up is the London game, and I just want to take this under. It is Carson Wentz versus Dylan Gabriel against two of the best defenses in the entire league, and 36.5 just seems like a lot. I mean, that's hit for Cleveland games. Half of their games have been under 30 points. I am also interested in taking that alt line under 30 if you want a higher payout here. Typically, when we see these drastically low totals, they're actually worse than we think. Like when we see like a 36 or 35 point under, a lot of times they hit under 30 and under those alt lines.
Yeah, I wish I would have bet this one when the lines opened this week because I think it was up around 39, 38.5 is where it opened, but it's getting pushed down. What's the bottom for you? Where are you not going to take the under on this game?
Honestly, I don't know if there is a bottom. Like if you want to keep laddering it down, so you can start at 36, and that's what I've done on this game. I've started at 36.5, and then I have a little bit less on the 30.5 line, and then I have a little bit less under 25.5. And then if you want to even say no touchdown or sprinkle the defensive touchdowns in this game, I'm perfectly fine with that. I like Judkins, but I hate every other piece in this game. It's also a rookie against that Brian Flores defense, so good luck.
Yeah, that should be interesting. The next one is, the opposite of that. It's a longest touchdown yards bet. And I hadn't seen these actually before, so I was really excited to find this one. I'm pretty excited about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in Seattle on Sunday. And this bet is the longest touchdown to be over 36.5 yards. And it's a minus 115. But by betting the longest touchdown, you're going to get both Jackson Smith-Njigba and Emeka Egbuka in this. You're going to get the whole team. So if anybody has a touchdown over 36.5 yards in this game, then you hit this prop. These defenses have given up 4 big passes this year to wide receivers. And these 2 wide receivers are more talented than what they've been facing. JSN has hit this in the first 3 weeks. And in week 4, he had a 36-yard touchdown. He was just a yard shy of it. Emeka Egbuka last week had a 77-yard touchdown. And Bucky Irving, even though he's probably not playing, he also had a 70-yarder as well. So we know that these 2 teams are capable of hitting that very easily, and they've done it, and they've both given it up as well this year.
Yeah, those defenses like to take risks. They also go for a lot of turnovers too. I am also curious if that's another win condition we have here, because Baker has gotten a little bit lucky that some of his interceptions have been dropped by corners, but if we get a 37-yard pick six, that's also another win condition here. So
I think you're right. I think that has to be included in this. I don't know. We may find out the rules on the longest touchdown
the fine print.
prop, but yeah, it's always learning. Maybe we'll get multiple ones.
Fair enough.
What do you got for touchdown scores? This one's always so hard for me. I feel like it's difficult to predict these touchdown scores. How did we do on touchdown scores last week?
We hit our undervalued running back with Travis Etienne. He broke off a long one and made it pretty easy, so a nice start to that Sunday slate. Dante Thornton Jr. dropped his in-zone target he had in his hands and just decided he didn't want it, which would have turned it into a good day for the touchdown market. And then Lamar Jackson went out early, and that game was never really competitive. So we only went 1 for 3 last week, but I like our picks this week. I want to kick it off with kind of more of a surefire one in my mind is David Montgomery, minus 185. I think they're just going to steamroll the Bengals, and we know those are the spots where Montgomery thrives. Whenever Lions are heavy favorites, they just try to lean on that running game, and they typically try to give them the red zone work.
They do. And like we talked about in our DFS episode as well, they like to spread it around. So when they are heavy favorites and when they are scoring easily, they don't just give it all to one person, that everybody gets a touchdown.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be Montgomery's turn at some point in this game, I'm pretty sure, to get that touchdown.
The next option, going back to the rookie you brought up earlier in Carolina, is I like McMillan to actually get in the end zone. I like Tetairoa plus 140. He is getting those red zone targets. He had 2 last week, but now he gets to go against one of the worst secondaries in the league. The Dolphins are allowing their 31st ranked in passing EPA allowed. I like him to finally get in the end zone, and we've just been waiting for that. We talked about it in DFS. We're like waiting for that breakout game. I'm calling it here with them getting in the end zone at plus 140.
I like both of these. What are you selling me on next?
The third one is going back to the Lions game. It can't get worse for the Bengals, right?
I don't know.
Truly just that we think the Bengals are lifeless, but they have too much talent on the roster to just remain at the absolute bottom forever. And T. Higgins, he is getting a high workload. I think plus 215 is a value for him. And especially we can get this in garbage time. Like the game doesn't have to be close. It all counts the same. But I just like Higgins to bounce back here. I don't think since he's going to look as bad as they did on the road against 2 great defenses, I think coming home helps the backup Browning.
Yeah, I think coming home is going to help him as well. Not that they're going to, put up much of a fight in this game, but maybe they get some points in garbage time.
So those are our 3 official touchdown bets. The other one I want to throw out there is Michael Carter. He should be filling in as the lead back for the Cardinals. I already saw him at plus 135. If you don't want to play him in the touchdown market, the other market that typically opens Sunday morning is who's going to lead that game in rushing. Depending on what his value is, check it out on Sunday morning. If you like that price, I think he's going to be the lead back for the Cardinals over DeMarcado.
Yeah, that is a good point that we should probably mention that we're always looking at these prop bets, but they come out later in the week. On Thursday, we're kind of scouring everything, and we're still not even finding some of the things where there are more injury concerns that they will just hold them off of the market, and they'll come out closer to game time.
Yeah, and once they release them, they're pretty polished on when it comes to the basics, over under rushing yards, over under receiving yards, touchdown markets. But the more niche you get in the market, like leading a specific game environment, then you can capitalize on those injuries.
Well, and today, although they had Michael Carter's lines out on Thursday, they did not have DeMarcado's numbers established yet. So they were still holding out to see how they were going to price that out. What do we got on a parlay? And are we doing the ghost leg? Did you place, if you placed your bet on Thursday to get that ghost leg token, then you can do this as a ghost leg, and you would have won last week if you had the ghost leg token.
Yeah, maybe we'll start having to post a quick short for our Thursday night football SGP to earn the token. But assuming you do have it, you cashed last week, and I'm going back to it. I still got my token, so I had my bet for the Rams 49ers game today. But For our parlay, this is a plus 559 total odds. The first leg is Jordan Mason under 68.5 rushing yards. And the way this parlay sets up too is you have kind of a check-in bet at each time frame. So I like it. You get to start it off in the morning, and then we have one the first window and one the second window. I just want to target unders against this Browns defense. We killed it with Montgomery. I think he had 12 yards on 9 rushes against this Browns defense. And you just can't run between the tackles on these Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Browns are very good against the rush. They're just very good.
They are.
The defense.
Yeah. So 68.5 is just too high for me. That is a minus 113 leg. The next bet is Michael Pittman over 4.5 receptions at minus 118. He's hit this in 3 or 4 weeks so far. He also excels in against zone coverage. He has about a 25% target share in zone coverage. And why I bring that up is because Raiders are second in the league in running zone 3 and zone 4 on defense. It just sets up well as a good matchup. Him and Tyler Warren kind of excel against zone, but I like it. Pittman's the trustworthy target. You also can't really run against the Raiders. They've been one of the best rushing defenses in the entire league. It just sets up well that they're going to force them into what they're already comfortable with.
Sounds good. How are we finishing it off?
The last leg is the Houston Texans taking the over for their team points. We just want to beat up on the Ravens defense, who is just not what we thought they were. And not only that, have they looked bad, but they lost 3 additional starters. We brought up this team as a stacking option in DFS, and I like to attack against this Ravens defense that's allowing 33.25 points per game.
It does seem pretty low. And yeah, we talked on DFS that Stroud is projected to have his most fantasy points in over a year.
Yeah. And 20.5 seems like a critical number. You know, it's like you get 3 touchdowns, you're there. I did want to mention that the Texans have success against teams that have a poor pass rush. Like, if you can't get to Stroud, then it's going to be a long day. That's where he excels. And right now, Baltimore is currently sitting at 31st as far as sack rate, right between Carolina and Tennessee. And they just lost their all-pro defensive tackle. I don't think it's going to get any better.
That's amazing.
But
All right.
in total, that is a 559 parlay. We will have the bet slips. So if you want to tail any of these bets, please bet responsibly.
Well, that's it for week 5. Tell us your favorite play in the comments. Play smart, have fun, and see you next time.